Welcome back. My second guest today is someone that I have the privilege of working very close with. Dr. Kari Babski-Reeves is the Associate Dean in the College of Engineering with responsibility for research and graduate studies. Kari, I'm glad we could finally have you on the show. It's great to have you here. Now, I've had various people on the show before. We had Jonathan Potes a few weeks ago talking about the research in traumatic brain injury and the research going down on the coast. I had Dave Dampier talking about cybersecurity and cyber operations. These are very specific research things to those particular departments and research centers. But being the Associate Dean at the college level, you have more of a holistic view of the research that's going on and some more the multidisciplinary projects. So what are the big things? What are the things that are up and coming at the moment in the College of Engineering?
One of the biggest areas has to do with the energy, food, water nexus interaction space. So there's civil engineering working on the watershed modeling. Ag and bio is also looking at that, as well as soil and nutrient, transportation, and all of that crosses over into CALS, so the College of Arts and Life Sciences. It transfers over into the College of Arts and Sciences. You have electrical engineering doing power systems, but all of those are coming together in that interaction space between each of those different categories. So that's one really large area that probably all of 8 of our departments are participating in. Another very multidisciplinary research area is transportation in general. So not only what do the road surfaces need to look like and the types of materials that you would use, as well as the construction of the bridges, but also when it comes to autonomy and autonomous vehicles, what should the infrastructure look like so that we can power all of these vehicles for longer term? What are some of the optimization schemes in terms of routing of air-based or ground-based or water-based autonomous vehicles? So autonomy also is one of those very large areas. And then cybersecurity, though it sounds like it falls into the computer science world, actually is all across each of our disciplines, because there's a lot of data analytics that needs to go on, understanding patterns and pattern recognition. So those are probably the largest ones that I see at the moment across the college.
Okay. Now you mentioned autonomous vehicles, and we have a very strong research center in unmanned aerial systems.
Yes, we do.
We have strong automotive engineering research going on here. Is that an area that you see combining those two technologies and something that Mississippi State could be a key player in the coming years?
So we already are a key player, because you mentioned the Assure Center, the FAA Center of Excellence, that has to deal with autonomous air vehicles, primarily providing policy recommendations to the FAA. But as you mentioned, CAVS does a lot of automotive and ground-based vehicle autonomy. So yes, it's a huge area that involves each of the 8 departments in one manner or another.
Now, research is very closely linked with graduate studies, and that's the other part of your position and what you do. When we think about student enrollment, because of my position, I typically think and focus on undergraduate studies. But graduate students are very much a big part of the college as well. So how many graduate students do we have, and is that something that's growing, and where are they coming from?
Okay. So we have about 670 total graduate students across 22, soon to be 23 graduate programs that we offer, or degrees that we offer. About 1/3 of those are actually distance students. So these are students that may never set foot on campus. They can be placed anywhere across the U.S. Some of them may be even stationed outside of the U.S. And are completing their graduate degrees via distance. They're coming from every one of the states, and yes, enrollment is growing. We've reached record numbers in both our distance enrollment as well as our on-campus graduate enrollment.
And the distance program, that's fairly reputable at the moment. It's ranked fairly highly.
It is. We've been as high as number 7 in the nation. This is our 5th year in the top 25. And we are one of the only institutions doing PhDs via distance, so that makes us slightly more unique.
And the students that are drawn to these distance programs, presumably these aren't students that have just completed their undergraduate degree?
No, almost every single one of these are working full-time engineers in some discipline or another, and they're seeking a graduate education so that they can further or change their career path within their existing company.
And is that something that is really helping to drive economic development in the state of Mississippi?
Oh, absolutely. You know, I can't necessarily give it numbers, but more and more of our students are staying within the state. A lot of our distance students are within the state, but again, because it is a distance program, not necessarily all of them are. We have a large number of students that are from Vicksburg and the Erdick Center. So.
Great. Well, thank you so much for being my guest today. Thank you for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed the show, and remember, you can always follow us on social media at MSU Engineering. Thank you.